We're just waiting. Here we go. We got the initiation alert that we are recording. That is a good sign, a good way to start out our podcast. Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday. I'm actually finally getting the day of the week right. I know a lot of that happens to all of us when we have a Monday holiday, but good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, and you know what that means for TwoSistas. That is a Wealth Wellness Wednesday, plus the additive of joy that we're implementing for the whole month of June and every single day. This is Carol, so AKA Naughty Boss, live with
TwoSistas. Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0 with the frickin' chirping bird. Wealth Wellness Wednesday in joy. And I just want to share a little joy with you. My mornings are crazy, right? What I love to do, and I know my sister doesn't drink coffee. I love my cup of coffee in the morning. I love it. And I had such joy this morning drinking my coffee and reading. I just love that. That brought me so much joy. So I wanted to share that with you. But let's turn it over to Casu. She likes getting the conversation going. She's actually better at that than I am, although I'm pretty good at it too.
You are. Don't sell yourself short. You are. And, you know, it's funny when we talk about joy and celebration, because obviously each day of the week for TwoSistas is to help all of you have a great week that leads up to that successful Friday, which we call Fantabulous Friday. But in the month of June, we have decided to dedicate the month of June to everything joy. And how do you implement joy? Because sometimes it's a chore. Joy shouldn't be a chore, but I think what happens is we tend to get so in the struggle of what's going out of control that we're not in control anyways, and we focus our energy on things that does not bring us joy. And how do you balance that? Because at the same time, you got to be informed, right? You want to know. There's much out in the world right now, in our community, in our state, in our country, that's out of our control. But we still need to know what's going on. So we want to make sure that when we want to focus on positive things, don't think being informed is not being positive. Some people mix up the two. They say, geez, if you're constantly informed and you're sharing information, and sometimes the information are hard pills to swallow, how is that adding value and bringing joy? So I'm going to tell you how, because it's kind of like a struggle, right? I struggle with it, and I know all of you do as well. Being informed is going to help you make those positive choices in your particular life for your family that are hard decisions. But when you feel good about the decisions that you make for yourself, for your family, when you are informed, you feel good about that, right? You feel like you're in charge. So that's where the two kind of mesh and melt and merge and kind of develop. So I had two people message me, and they kind of asked that question. They said, I don't, you, especially on my personal page, and you'll see a lot of this on my personal page, where I'm giving you something very informative that may be shocking, that may be crucial to what's currently going on in our world, maybe an individual community, an individual state, maybe something that people are not understanding and or getting the information because maybe of the news sources that they're choosing and not actually doing the necessary work to do our own due diligence to make those decisions. And then the next post will be, me working out or going to pickleball or, sharing something else. And they said, it's like you're two people. I'm not two people. You're not two people. It's a balance. We as humans have to balance what we feel. But at the end of the day, when you're informed, when you're in tune, it's easier to be proactive in making good decisions. And ultimately, when you make a good decision because of the information in or being informed, that brings you joy because you feel good. Hey, I made a good decision for myself, for my family. I didn't know the necessary things I needed to know. And one of the things that I learned last night, which I thought was kind of going in that direction. And I thought, wow, is this really happening? There were three things going on and three tough things. But again, hoping that bringing it to light will help others not get slammed in the face, not be caught off guard. Because, Jan, before I get into those things that I was going to chat about, how do you feel, and I'm going to actually post this to our viewers and listeners as well, when you're caught off guard, when you're not prepared, when you're not in tune to what's going on? Does that make you feel kind of, out of touch with the universe and or, unsure, or does that bring you joy?
Well, a little off kilter. I'll say it like that. And what I mean by that is I have to go, what? I didn't hear about that. And then I start to investigate or research, whatever I feel that I need to do. Now, in that respect, I do not claim to know it all. So that's my disclaimer. But yeah, it makes you feel off kilter. But I think what people forget about is perceptive mindset. What does that really mean? It all goes back to your mindset, I think. So to answer your question, yeah, it throws me off kilter.
Right. And when we feel off kilter, off balance, sometimes, and we often talk about this on TwoSistas, is the trickle-down effect, the domino effect, that it spills over into other decisions, other ways of the way that your day is going. So understand that there has to be a balance of knowledge, because we already know that when you are knowledgeable about something and or you're being open-minded to stay informed, makes you more powerful because you're prepared. You're prepared for that a surprise is not going to happen. Not to say that surprises are not good. I'm talking about the surprises that might not be so good for you. And so a few things that I did here, which I truly believe we've been getting nibbled at all along for about a year now. And now this is, the nibbling is really starting to come to light. So have you heard about vaccination segregation? And it's happening, and it has been happening in very little nidbits. So how do you get desensitized to something? You hear about it in tidbits, and little subtle genres will enter into your universe space, right? Your everyday living, until it becomes like full blown. So for the last year, we've been listening to, obviously, if you choose to get right now, if you choose to get the vaccination, the narrative of that point to bring the rest of us to the new norm, or to feel joy that we could get on with our lives, was if you get the vaccination, that is going to protect you, and you will be able to go back to that joyful, normal life. Well, we're finding out that that's not necessarily true from the data of so many people now receiving and making that choice. Because what has happened is, I think as of December to the beginning of May, there was over 5,000 deaths somewhere in there. That's not joyful, obviously, that's heartache. There's also people that had the misconception that if they received it, they wouldn't get the virus. That is not the case. There are many people that have received the vaccination that have also gotten the virus. Then the next piece to it was talking about kind of like a passport, which I'm grateful and blessed that our particular state is not going to be allowed. But now the terminology now leads to, as of yesterday, vaccination segregation within your community, within your workplace. Already started happening if you've been paying attention to any cruise line. If you're not vaccinated, you can't get on their ship. It's a vaccination only zone. So when you start designating and segregating, because yes, it's segregation, you're segregating people by who got vaccinated and who did not. And therefore, you're telling a certain part of our population that they have no business being able to live in a free society and or take away them from living day to day, because you're going to now segregate them as to what they can do. That doesn't bring us joy, but what will bring us the joy is being knowledgeable about that, being self-prepared by having that self-awareness, by being informed. So what can you do that's within your control? Because we've talked about that. Joy also comes from knowing that you're not in control of what the outside world is doing, or the outside corporations, or the government, your local government, state, federal, whatever. But you're in control. That brings you a posture, which also brings you self-awareness and good making self-decisions. That makes you feel good because you made the decision. So what can you do to turn that stuff into joy? You can contact your local government, your local community. And how do you do that? Well, you can go to your local town hall if you have one, city hall. You find out, who are my representatives within my own community? Because every community has local reps. So then you go from your local reps to your own state reps, and then you go from the state reps to the ones that are actually representing you, we the people, in Congress and or the Senate, and write to them. So a lot of people will say, what, I'm only one person. Well, it starts with us, right? We're only one person. If we don't start to take control, we're never going to be in control. And we already know that, we can't control that, but we are in control of us. And that brings you happiness when you know you've done good, where you know that, hey, I did my part. Not only did I do my part, I'm going to tell my neighbor, I'm going to tell my family, I'm going to tell my friends, hey, were you aware that A, B, and C is going on? And while we aren't the ones, we're not the lawmakers, we're the ones that back the law and want to push what law we want and what we don't want. And we can't do that unless we contact people, right? What do you think about that, Jim?
Well, I think a lot about it, because I don't know if you saw I was making faces.
Yes, I did.
I'm going, It's all based on fear. It is all based on fear. And I'm going to give you a good example of this. And I'm not going to mention names because that's not what this is about. Gary was approached by someone. Just, hey, how you doing? And they said, whoa, don't come any closer. The 6 feet. And this was when it was just changed to 3 feet. And the person said, are you vaccinated? He said, hell no. Are you vaccinated? The person said, yes. Well, then I guess you don't have to worry about it. That was fear. And I'm tired of the government telling me what to do and when I can do it and how I can do it. And anybody else that tells me any different. Here's the thing. Fear will never get you anywhere. Will never get you anywhere. And what is happening is the stagnation of that fear. Oh, well, if you do this, this will happen. I mean, I think this is a subject that we could really talk for hours about, but look at Fauci, look at all his misinformation.
Dr. Falsey.
Yeah. Dr. Falsey, Dr. Schmuckface. And the different news organizations, and again, I'm not going to mention names, are still in the fear mongering. One CNN reporter, I don't recall her name, but what she had mentioned one time was, I don't know how to confront people that aren't wearing masks anymore. But she was basing it on her own fear. I would love to see for other news organizations to be a journalist and report the news versus that little, it almost reminds me of silly putty. oh, how are we going to mold this today? You know, how silly putty you could rub it like on a newspaper and get the ink from it. It's like, oh, let's make up our own narrative. We'll knead it out. Oh, look what we came up with. Like, it's all BS. It's based on fear. And I am not falling for that anymore. I'm done.
And the part being that fear, what does fear do? Fear does not bring you joy. We know that. But being informed will give you that peace of mind, will give you that joyful feeling like, okay, I've been now informed on the following things. Either I agree with them or I don't, because you can go either way. And we want to make sure that we're covering all bases of it. Doesn't matter what political affiliation you are. We're talking about yourself as a human being. To, you know, a lot of times the fear comes when you're really not in control. And I think people have to embrace the fact that you never are in control. You're only in control of you and what you can do. Not only that, you're in control of your actions, you're in control of your reactions. So what I would do in a situation, if someone confronted me that way, just gonna adjust my pillow. Those that can't see me, I'm sitting in my desk seat and my back was kind of caca. That doesn't feel good. When you're confronted with someone that kind of asks you that, you know, not kind of, that does ask you that question that you feel is, you know, inappropriate, how do you flip that around and walk away with joy? Well, that comes from confidence, that comes from being postured, and you don't have to do it snippy. You don't have to do it snarky. You don't have to even be rude about it. You just say, geez, I'm happy for you. And you turn the table around to show them by your actions that you're not in fear of them for the decision that they made. When we kind of realize that we have to respect other people's choices, even though they don't agree with ours, instead of getting into the entanglement, which human nature, let's be real, we've all been in that situation where you wanted to kind of fight back or snip back at that person because you thought, it's none of your business. Why are you asking me that? Just walk away. We've all done that because we're just tired. We're tired of it. And we want to get back to feeling good. We want to get back to having a joyful life and living each day a good day with good things around us. So if you're approached with somebody, so I'm going to give you a couple tips. If you are approached by somebody that asks you questions that maybe you're not comfortable answering, if you're postured and you're confident, answer them, that's fine, but don't do it in a snarky way. Just be confident. Yes, no, indifferent. But if you really feel like they're overstepping the line, because, you know, medical, when you start talking about medical things, that is a personal thing. You know, that's between you and your doctor and with those that you choose to share with. But when you're not choosing to share with it, when someone's actually asking the question directly, flip it around to make them feel good. Sounds a little weird, right? But you flip it, right, you flip it around and you say very calmly and very upbeat, I'm so happy that you feel confident in your choice. And I commend you on doing what you feel is good for you. And change the subject. Don't even get back into, now if the person follows up again, well, you didn't answer my question, or I need to know. Again, I would simply say, if you are confident in your choice, there's really no need for you to be in fear. When, you know, the old saying, when you kill them with kindness, when they're not so kind, it's better to do that, because guess what? You can turn and walk away and say, I handled it well. Now, for every situation, we're not always going to be on point with that. We know that. But if we don't start to, and you hope that when someone sees that that's your reaction, that you're kind of killing them with kindness and not rudeness or snarkiness or judgmental and or ready to kind of have that debate. Debates are good when there's mutual respect and you're playing on the same level field. That's the only time debates are good. Mm-hmm. How many times does that happen? Not often, let's be real. The rules of engagement, and there are rules of engagement and rules of conversation, there's rules of debates. when you're both have that mutual respect for each other right from the get-go, you can have that debate. You can have that engagement. But 9 out of 10 times, emotion enters into that conversation, and you don't know when that emotion is going to pop up. It may be a certain word that someone says. It may be a certain body language that someone's doing. So why go down there unless you are postured and prepared? Some people are not. Some people are not good debaters. Some people are not really good at getting their thoughts, because then the emotions kind of get entangled and then it gets crazy. That doesn't add joy to you. It doesn't add joy to them. It doesn't add joy to you. And I want us as humanity, for humanity purposes, to spread joy, to spread kindness. And today is a perfect day to do that because it is Wealth Wellness Wednesday. And that is doing a joyful act to an unsuspecting person and spreading some kindness. So you know what? If you have, here's a little tip. If you have someone that's kind of coming at you and asking those questions that you might not be comfortable with, kill them with kindness and say, if you're not going to do the Wealth Wednesday, because we always tell Wealth Wednesday should be with someone that you don't know, an unsuspecting person, to brighten their day. But that doesn't mean you can't brighten someone else's day that you do know that maybe not approaching you in a joyful way. And you just tell them, gratitude is the greatest of all human emotions. And I'm grateful that you made the choice for yourself and that you're not in fear. Mic drop, walk away. Leave them with a positive feeling of how postured you are. You're going to walk away feeling joyful because you handled it in a really good way and you felt confident in your decision. You didn't give the information away that you didn't want to, that you weren't comfortable with, or that maybe you just didn't want to share. And maybe you left them with a different perspective on maybe next time they won't approach somebody. What do you think, Jim?
Well, I think we, number one, should have more mic drop moments. And if you find yourself in a situation where there's a group of people and it's a situation where it's asked a question in a group setting and either yes or no, and let's say all those in favor say yes. Well, what if you don't want to raise your hand?
Are you asking me?
Right.
Yeah. If you don't want to raise your hand, if you're in that kind of group setting, again, you present it in such a way that I'm happy and be genuine and authentic on how you're delivering that. I am happy that all of you are happy in your choice. So am I. It's just a different choice. And isn't it good that we're all not exactly the same? Because God didn't make us the same anyways.
Absolutely.
I think we have to be more creative and more mindful of spreading joy, spreading informative information, but understanding that the informed information is for people to make their own choice. It's not, many times both of us will share what we're passionate about. We will share our view, but our view is always depending on, our beliefs, our belief system, but it doesn't mean that we are not open to hearing other people's opinions. And I think that's part of what is going on right now. People are not open up to just have a good conversation and understanding the signals of the rules of engagement. And I think we have to get better at that. I have to, you have to, the whole world has to. We have to be mindful of that we don't agree. And I always go back to certain things from the Bible, certain things that we know. We know that the Lord, had, engaged with the lepers. He engaged with Mary Magdalene. He engaged with the people that had leprosy, that had disease. Why? Because the point being, he was lending the olive branch that we're all loved. We're all made in his likeness. And we all have to treat each other even in those moments of different agreements, like, look at where this is today's leprosy in the minds of some, that those that have made a different choice than they've made, they're being treated as if they have leprosy. So if you know that someone's asking you those questions, think of that moment of whatever your God is, whatever your universe is, whatever your belief systems are. But know this, that Jesus Christ kind of rubbed elbows with the Mary Magdalens, the people with leprosy, for a purpose, for a more significant example of how to treat other human beings. So when someone's asking you that, and remember that he was also ridiculed for that. Like, why would you, I'm going to obviously put it in today's terminology, why would you be hanging around with them? They've got leprosy. She's, a woman of, disgrace and whatever. That's rooted in fear. So the same way that those are now treating others that made a choice that's different from theirs, now they're treating them with leprosy. It is rooted by fear. And the reason why it's rooted by fear is because people are not informed in understanding data, understanding science, and not depending on what the news sources tell you. Do your own research. There are plenty of podcasts with many scientists, many doctors that are going to give you more of an accurate data and or a professional opinion than the Dr. Falsies that are out there. There's many Dr. Falsies out there. But as many Dr. Falsies that there are also very many reputable with impeccable resumes that say the complete opposite. So we have to, as a people, as a human race, we have to do our own due diligence. And when you actually make that first step forward in trying to make better decisions for yourself and your family because you're doing that due diligence, what does that do? That makes you feel like you're in control of the situation, and that brings you joy. So you have to see how all different emotions go in, and joy is another way of feeling grateful. And when you pass it forward and pay it forward and do kindness to other people, even to those that don't have the same mindset that you do, you're the one that feels good walking away calmly, and maybe, just maybe, your reaction to their negative reaction just might change them, might add a little sugar. And maybe then they'll think, maybe they'll look inward, or maybe they won't treat someone else the same manner that they treated you.
Right. Kindness and respect goes a very long way in any situation. So if you find yourself off balance by a question, or you're in a group setting, just be you. Pause before you answer. That's always the good thing to do. Well, however you may start a conversation or initiate that response. My guess is that if you know these people very well, they're going to respect you in return for your showing that respect and kindness to them, acknowledging that you have respect for their decision, even though you don't agree with it. And that is going to go a really long way. I mean, who wants to be involved with controversy? Because that really can turn into a very controversial debate. I certainly don't want to do that, and I don't think anybody else does as well. So be kind, be respectful, and I think that is a hella a way to go.
It is. It definitely is, and you feel better about it. I mean, at the end, when you know that you did your part in trying to pay it forward. Another thing that a way of joy can be brought to you and enlighten you is the belief system of yourself. How many times do you try to, people say, oh, I'm trying this new adventure, or I'm going to start out this new career, or I'm thinking I want to be my own boss. And a lot of people sometimes will put a timetable on that. And we've always talked about don't ever leave your visions and your goals and to the graveyard, because they should. So I'm going to leave you with this quote from F. Scott Fitzgerald. For what it's worth, it's never too late to be whoever you want to be. I hope you live a life you're proud of. And if you find that you're not, I hope you have the strength to start over. So start over. It's Wealth Wellness Wednesday. A great way to start over is with gratitude. Be grateful where you are for today and be joyful. But you can start over. And Wealth Wellness Wednesday is a great day to start over, especially when you started off with paying it forward and or paying kindness. That is going to bring you joy for the day. What do you think, Jan?
Sidebar. We all know these sidebars come up.
You know we love our sidebars. Go ahead, Jan.
Unexpected moments. So, as I noticed, my shirt, by the way, says "Hella sore, back for more." And as I looked over, I'm like, wow, I'm pretty white. Wow. My sister is a brown berry. I want some brown berryness. That'll come with time. But what a great way to wrap up Wealth Wellness Wednesday. How about writing every day in my journal? I write 10 things I'm grateful for. Don't put a lot of thought in it. Whatever pops in your mind, just put it down. And yes, the other day, well, typically like every other day, I write grateful for bad hair days. I am.
You know what?
I don't know why.
Your bad hair days, but I mean, a lot of people would kill to have that like very carefree flowing. I think your hair looks great.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm saving up so I can visit my Sharon again. I'm looking forward to that. But anyways, what a great way to, like we said, to start off Wealth Wellness Wednesday with joy. Have that gratitude, share it with others. Look where it may get you. It may lead you on a path that you didn't know existed. And guess what? Hella sore, back for more. We'll be back tomorrow for our Trending Thursday. There's always something trending. On that note, my name is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, and I am with TwoSistas.
And this is Carol Sue, aka Naughty Boss, live from a beautiful Vero Beach. We did get some rain yesterday, which was well needed. Our pond was kind of sinking low. Now it looks a little bit revitalized, and that's a good thing. You guys have a great day. Spread that kindness, spread that joy, and remember, you are in control of your actions and your reactions. So make sure they're joyful in this month of June Joy Month. We will see you tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.